Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show, and today we're going to be showing you how to host the perfect Christmas dinner. I'm here with Christine Bailey, who's a nutritionist and chef, and later on as well we're going to be joined by Tanya Mellis, who's going to be showing us how to set the perfect Christmas table. Now, as you've probably guessed, we're outside of the studio today and we're in a lovely family kitchen, so it's going to be a fab show today because we're going to be cooking, aren't we, Christine?
Yeah, absolutely. And
looking forward to it.
One of the things that we're going to try and show you is how to do it quite quickly, simply without the stress
and healthily as well.
And healthily. And
people do get stressed, don't they?
They do. And the thing is, everyone thinks that you have to. Everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be, you know, just so. And actually, it doesn't. It can be just more relaxed. And if we look at the different recipes that we're going to do, we can see how you can make it slightly healthier as well.
Okay, can you just talk us through what we're going to be cooking today?
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to do today is we've actually got here a turkey breast joint. Now you could have a turkey for a family of 4. You might actually just want a duck or a chicken, for example.
Right. I prefer duck as well, I like that.
Yeah, and you know, you don't necessarily always have to do the traditional thing. It could be anything that you fancy. But obviously a lot of people worry about cost.
Yeah.
And so one of the ways that we can cut the cost is to choose a joint where you've just got the breast, so you haven't got all the bones which add to the weight. The other thing for people that are really concerned about cost is perhaps to think about choosing a frozen joint and then defrosting that in advance. That is quite a lot cheaper than actually buying something fresh.
Just don't forget to defrost it or else your Christmas dinner's ruined.
So what we've got here is a breast joint, and we're going to you could just literally roast this, that'd be absolutely fine. But let's add some extra flavour and keep it nice and moist. So what I'd like you to do is I love thyme, I love herbs, fresh herbs. Just take off the leaves and we're just going to put them in a little bit of unsalted butter. And what this will actually do is make the joint very, very moist. Now, for additional flavour, you could, for example, put a bit of lemon on that. You could put a bit of orange zest and juice.
Well, this one smells quite lemony already. It's a lemon thyme, isn't it? Yeah, it smells delicious.
I mean, herbs for me really, really make a meal. And again, they don't have to be expensive. You can get them readily available in supermarkets, or you can grow them yourself. Or if you get them in pots, you can keep those quite easily for quite a few weeks on your windowsill. So if you've got quite a big turkey, one of the real concerns is how long does it need to cook? Everyone worries about, is it done? Am I going to overdo it? The rule really is around about 40 minutes per kilo plus add another 20. So that's 20 minutes per pound. But the key really is if you had an actual turkey with the thighs and the legs, always put in a skewer or a fork into the thickest part of the leg and the juices should run clear. That's the real thing. So we're going to put this in a preheated oven. Always preheat your oven, saves the hassle. And this again, once you've got it in the oven, you don't have to do anything about it. So that again is...
This is the easy part, isn't it?
It's not hassle. So that's lovely. So what we're going to do now, and this is where you do need to use your fingers, is just smear a little bit of the butter over the joint. It doesn't have to be precise. Again, if you had an actual turkey, you could place it under the skin and that would keep it nice and moist when you're cooking it as well. The herbs just, I think, add so much more flavour. And then actually what we'll do, Chrissy, is if you could put a few of the actual sprigs just into the tray itself, that will just give it a little bit of flavour while it's cooking. So that's nice and easy. And you could, again, do this with duck. You could do it with a chicken. And then just put a little bit of salt over the top for the extra flavour and it crisps up the skin, and a little bit of black pepper. Nice and easy, absolutely. So we're going to give this one a couple of hours because of its weight. And you want it in an oven around about 180 fan, 200 degrees C. Just leave it.
And we cover that, right?
We cover that because we want to keep it nice and moist. Around about half an hour before it's ready. So just in your head, just think, I need to check it in about an hour and a half for a 2 kilo. Then take off the foil, and then we just crisp it up a bit.
Right, okay.
That's it. So that's straightforward. So I'm just going to put this in the oven for you. And then you can just forget about it. Now, for those that are worried about time, you could have actually prepared that turkey the night before. And then when you get up in the morning, goes in the oven, and then you can forget about it.
So the more you prep, the better, isn't it? So it's not less stress on the day.
It makes so much difference. And then often people worry about the potatoes. When do I put the potatoes in? Now you can get very cheaply bags of potatoes. You can get frozen ones as well for those that aren't so sure or a little bit worried, and we'll put some of those on a bit later. Normally what you do with the potatoes, choose something like a Maris Piper that's quite fluffy. Just parboil it for about 5 minutes and then roughen it up, and then it's going to go into a baking tray, a little bit of olive oil, could put a bit of garlic in there and some herbs as well.
When you say roughen it up, what do you mean?
So roughen up. So that's a really good question. When you've drained them, when you've parboiled them, so you put them in a pan of boiling water, then you drain it, and then in the colander, just literally shake it very gently, and you roughen the sides of the potato, and that allows it to crisp up, because what you like is a nice crispy skin.
Tip.
Yeah, and then a little bit of salt as well will crispen it. And then you're going to put it in the oven for probably around about 40 minutes, and then just check it again after and give it another 10-20 minutes. But you can do a lot of that once the turkey comes out. So if you're saying, well, I've only got a very small oven, you normally allow a turkey to rest for about 30 minutes. So you can actually do most of that once you're allowing the turkey to rest. Good. So again, you know, that's something that we can do in stages. Yeah. Now dessert.
Oh, yes, what are we having for dessert?
Okay, so a lot of people, they love Christmas pudding, but for some people it can be quite heavy.
I don't like it much.
No, and for a lot of people, if they are worrying about their weight, they think, well, I still want to have something indulgent, but not necessarily a Christmas pudding. So I've got a lovely dessert for you.
Okay. And I bet it's really healthy.
It is,
and Chrissy.
It's so simple. I like things that are simple. Again, on a Christmas day, you don't want to spend all your time in the kitchen.
Exactly. So rest time.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do, and this is great for those that have allergies, because we were talking on some of the programs before about allergies. You know, a lot of people, they can't take dairy, they can't take gluten. And so what can they eat? So we're going to do a dairy-free chocolate dessert.
Oh, lovely.
How lovely. So I need you to do something for me. So what I'd like you to do is just a standard orange, and this is what we call a microplane grater. Just over the container, just take off the skin for me. Okay. And the zest actually provides an awful lot of flavour to this dessert, but from a nutritional point of view, that's where a lot of the antioxidants are, for the limonene. And those have actually been shown to be anti-cancer.
Really?
Yeah, and so a lot of the properties are actually right near the skin surface, right near the peel. So if you're one of those children that like sucking on the orange, and they suck on all that pith, actually they're doing themselves a lot of good.
We tend to take it off, don't we, because we think that's not very good.
So, you know, there are health benefits of that. Obviously, if you can afford to, go organic so it's not waxed. But, you know, if you're trying to do Christmas on a budget, and that's what, you know, we're going to be talking about today, you know, just get a couple of nice fresh oranges. So we're going to use 2 oranges in this dessert, and we're going to have the juice and the zest for maximum flavour. And that's really where the sweetness, absolutely, and that's where the sweetness is coming from. I'm not going to be adding any sugar to this dessert.
Oh, that's good.
You've got enough sweetness with the chocolate, and with the chocolate, people think, well, that's not dairy-free. Actually, you can buy a lot of dairy-free chocolate now.
So we're using dark chocolate here?
Yeah, so dark, and if you need to, dairy-free chocolate. And so that means that it's going to be suitable for anyone with a lactose intolerance or any casein intolerance as well. That's brilliant. I think you've done that really well, Chrissy. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then all we're going to do is get the juice out. So just a simple squeeze. And all we're going to do is put this in a blender with the rest of the ingredients. And then we're going to spoon it into wine glasses. Right. And the nice thing about that is then again, you could have done this the day before, because all you're going to then do is put it in the fridge and let it set. And that's
Easy peasy.
A lot of chocolate mousses and chocolate desserts will be laden with double cream. So one, it's not dairy free, but also that's piling on the saturated fat and the calories as well. And they will often have an awful lot of sugar in there in addition. So before you know it, you've exceeded your sugar intake for the day. But this is a really guilt-free dessert. Now, the way we're going to make this creamy is by, I don't know if you've come across this ingredient, but it's called silken tofu. Now, you've probably come across tofu in Japanese restaurants.
Yes, I have that often fried in black bean sauce.
Oh, right, okay. Well, this is slightly different. So this is silken tofu. All that means is it's soft. And it means that when you put it into a blender, and I use this quite a lot as a really high quality protein, you get a really creamy texture. So this is, you can get the firm tofu, but this is just a softer version. This is also in a, what we call a UHT container. So the great thing is, it doesn't have to be kept in the fridge, in the store cupboard, so you can make this up whenever you get the munchies. Absolutely. So let's put that in. And in this bowl, I've got my dairy-free melted chocolate. And you're putting in around about sort of 350 odd grams. So that's going in there. And you can see, it's, you know, it's quite soft. Now, it doesn't look anything at this stage. Then, do you want to do the chocolate? So
just pour it in,
the chocolate in there, the whole lot. And then all we do really is just blend that up.
Right.
And because it's Christmas, we're going to serve it in wine glasses just to make it look a little bit more special. But the great thing about this is it's dairy-free, high in protein, so it's going to actually fill you up. Protein always fills you up, keeps you feeling quite satiated.
You should have this first before the dinner.
You should really. This would be great for breakfast, wouldn't it? Then it's naturally sweetened with orange, and that's all there is to it. So you could use, now if you don't have a blender, because some people obviously don't have blenders, you can literally just get one of those little stick blenders and stick that in a jug and do that instead. And you can get those really cheaply. So I'm going to blend this up. So that's all blended. So if I just show you first what it looks like, you can see there. Nice. Isn't it gorgeous?
That's lovely,
and it might be a little bit soft now, but once you get it in the fridge, it will set, because obviously that chocolate which we melted will harden.
Will reset, right.
So all we need to do is, if we come over here, and we're going to spoon it into wine glasses. Now sometimes because this is quite rich, believe me, it is very rich. What I sometimes do is put them in little ramekins or little, you know, little shot glasses. They're really nice. But we'll just put them in some wine glasses today. And then if you want to, you can then decorate it with a little bit of extra orange juice or the peel and the zest on top, or just a sprinkling of chocolate as well. Shall I get you to do something?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So so what we can do now is then, once we've finished, we can either dust it with a little bit of cocoa powder, or we can just put a little bit of orange zest on that as well. And then into the fridge, and all it really needs is about an hour. So again,
I want to eat it now. It smells so nice.
Again, we could have done this the night before.
Yeah.
So already there's two things we could have prepared, and then your, you know, Christmas Day morning is not quite as frantic. And later I'm going to be showing you, you know, quick ways of doing the veg as well. So this is just a nice alternative to our lovely Christmas pudding. Not everyone likes it. So hence why we've got an alternative. And this everyone loves. It's just so
it just smells
gorgeous.
So lovely. I wish I could smell through the camera. But
and you know, guilt-free. How good is that?
Yeah, definitely.
So I think all we need to do is get these in the fridge now, and then they'll be ready a bit later after our turkey's done.
Now, for those that do actually like Christmas pudding, when should that be prepped? At what point?
Christmas pudding. Now, I have to say, because in my family we have allergies. I make my own. So, because a lot of Christmas puddings contain gluten, and for a lot of people, if you suffer with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity, that's a problem. So, if you're making your own and it's in a 1 pint sort of tub, which is often what they come in, you've already cooked that for about 6 hours. And so on Christmas Day, all you do is about an hour, hour and a half, and you can steam it.
So Christine, we're going to go to a quick break, and then afterwards we're going to continue with this lovely prep of a Christmas dinner. So join us then. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, where we are, well, Christine here rather, is showing us how to prepare a lovely Christmas dinner on a budget as well, and a very healthy one. So the turkey's in the oven.
We've got the turkey in the oven already.
Dessert's in the fridge.
We've got the dessert in the fridge. And again, you know, a lot of that we could have done in advance. That takes the stress out of it. And so now we're talking about, for me, the main event as a nutritionist, the veg.
The veg, I love veg.
I do, and it's what I really like is, and it shows it here, what a nice colour we've got. So when you're thinking about nutrition, you want to be thinking a rainbow selection of vegetables. You know, can we get a nice colourful selection? That also makes the table look great as well. Now I know not everyone likes our sprouts.
It wasn't my favourite growing up, but I've come to sort of
my kids
like
actually
them now.
love sprouts. Isn't
How
it
did
funny?
you manage that?
They just love green vegetables, and I'm very fortunate. We're going to jazz it up a bit, because you can't really have Christmas without the sprouts, I have to say. And we're going to toss these with a little bit of bacon. Now, again, if you've got a little bit more money to spend, maybe go for something like a pancetta or Parma ham even would be nice. If not, go for streaky bacon and cut off all the excess fat and then just chop it up, and we'll show you how to do that. So first of all, can you just, for me, take off the base and the outer layer, and then we're just going to slice it in halves. And the reason for that is I'm going to just quickly parboil these for around about 3 minutes or so, and then we're going to toss those with some cooked bacon. And so that's a very, again, quite a quick, healthy way. And we want it to be quite crisp. A lot of people just overcook their veg, you know, generally, especially on Christmas Day, because they're trying to juggle so much. Most of these different recipes that we're going to be showing you can all be done pretty much partly in advance and then reheated if you need to. Or when your turkey's resting, then you could start do it. If you've got one of those electric steamers, then you could always make use of those.
They're
as
handy,
well.
aren't they?
They are, and they're just, again, if you've got limited space on the hob, then having an electric steamer can be quite useful. So that's very easy. Now carrots. Now you can see here, I've already prepared some. Now one of the
how did you do that?
These are great. I don't know if you've ever come across this. But one way of jazzing up a cheap carrot, because often people will buy, you know, the little carrots, which are slightly more expensive, the chanterelle type ones, and they're great for Christmas Day. But what if you can't afford that? Just get your bog standard carrot. And this is you can get these in a lot of the kitchen shops. And this is just a serrated big chopper.
I've never seen one.
And it's something that is very traditional in my household. My mother used to do this when I was a little girl as a way of trying to make vegetables more exciting.
And it worked.
And it obviously worked, absolutely. So all you do is do it on an angle. So you're just cutting it through.
I noticed you haven't peeled the carrots. Is that
no, I mean, you can just scrub them for ease. If you want to peel them, that's great. But these are very lightly skinned anyway. They're not dirty. We've given them a good wash. Again, if you go organic, you might need to just give them a little bit more of a wash as well, because often they're slightly...
it's a bit thick, that one, isn't it?
That's fine, that's fine. And again, what we're going to do with this, we're just going to saute these off in a little bit of stock and a little bit of our lovely thyme again. So here's our thyme.
You like thyme, don't you?
I do. I just think herbs really make a dish.
They do,
And avoid unnecessary extra sugars and sweeteners and fats and so on, because you're naturally adding a lot of flavour with your herbs. And then another alternative is for a Christmas day is, what about red cabbage? You know, it's such a lovely ingredient, and again,
it looks fabulous too, doesn't it?
It does. It really makes the table, I think. And all I've done here, can you see that this is quite thin, it's quite shredded. Now, if you've got a food processor, you can just whap it in the food processor, quick shred, or just use a knife. Now, we're going to sweeten this one up with some apples. So if I can get you just to literally just cut it into quarters, take out the core, and then can you see here, just chop it into little pieces. Yeah. Now, for a bit of extra flavour, and we're going to go over to the hob in a minute, we're going to also add in here, I've got a little bit of ginger. I love root ginger, and it's very warming at Christmas, isn't it? Very, very good for circulation. And I've also put some garlic in here, great for the immune system, and chilli, again, great for circulation. So this is a really good stimulatory, healing recipe. Let's get started.
Okay.
So I'm going to take this over here. This is my red cabbage. And what I'm going to do is just put in a little bit of olive oil, first of all. I want to get this hot, and then I'm just going to saute off the red cabbage. Again, this is something that actually tastes really nice cold as well as hot. So if you have the leftovers, and let's face it, we always have leftovers at Christmas, particularly with the turkey, you can actually then serve this as part of a salad the next day. So it's a really good Boxing Day. Yeah. So this is now getting nice and hot. Could you pass me the little chilli and the garlic tub, and we'll get that in as well. So I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil. So just put that in the pan, and we're going to saute first of all the red cabbage off, and this really, really does not take long. So we'll just put some of that in to show everyone. Okay. And the nice thing about it's a bit like, you know, when you cook things like spinach and kale, you have a massive bag and you think, I don't need this much, but then it wilts right down.
It does, doesn't it? You're left with about that much.
And this is exactly the same. So when you cook this and it becomes softer, actually there's not an awful lot there. So make sure, I would say, for a family of 4, you need 1 small whole red cabbage. Right. And again, that's actually very cheap. So if you're looking at, can I afford this on a budget? Very, very cheap. Affordable. So you can see all I'm doing now is just tossing it in the pan. We'll get that heat up a little bit more, and that way we can get that cooking. Now, let's put in, this is just for flavour. So we've got our chilli, our garlic, and the ginger as well. And we just want to stir that through. You can see it's nicely sizzling. Yeah. Now, what I like to do is also add a little bit of tang. I like that sort of sweet sour flavour. And so the way I do that is to add apple cider vinegar. If you can pass over the apples, and that provides that sweetness. So you've got the acidity from the cider vinegar, but you've also got a little bit of saltiness from the tamari, the soy sauce, and then you're just adding a little bit of sweetness with the apple. And at the end, I'm going to put in a few cranberries just to make it really seasonal. I
know some people put sultanas in their cabbage.
Exactly, that's the same. And actually, that would be slightly cheaper. Okay. So again, for anyone, you know, that's worrying about, you know, can I afford it? Instead of sort of dried cranberries, which is what we're going to add, you could just add a few raisins or sultanas, like you say. Now, I want you to fry me some of the bacon for our lovely Brussels sprouts. So here I've got, and that's just streaky bacon, and all we've done is just chop it into quite big chunks because we don't want it to literally disappear with our Brussels sprouts.
Right, okay.
So I'm going to get you to do that. Meanwhile,
do you want oil in there, or do it dry fry?
No, because you can dry fry it, absolutely. Right. Okay, yeah, so just put it in. We just want the pan hot. And then with the Brussels sprouts, the secret is not to overcook them. Right. It's easy said and done, I know, but try not to overcook. And I'm just going to put them in some boiling water. Now, you could steam them. So if you had a steamer at this point, put them in a steamer for around about 3 to 4 minutes. That's all you need.
Really?
Really doesn't
Gosh,
need
must
very
do about
long.
20 minutes.
No, well, this is it, and this is why it goes all soggy. So we've now got this ready. So all this needs is just to sit there. You can then leave this until you're ready to serve. So you can see how easy that is.
That looks lovely.
And you want the colour. The only thing I'm going to do just before we serve it is add some herbs. You know me, I love my herbs. So I'm going to add some parsley and I'm going to add some mint as well. And that just freshens it up. So we've got here 1 vegetable dish done. We've got the Brussels sprouts in the pan. We're just going to bring that to the boil.
Right.
And you're going to do the bacon.
Bacon's frying.
Absolutely. And then the only thing we're going to then do is we're going to use that same pan to do the carrots. And we're just going to literally just put those in a little bit of stock with some honey and some thyme. So that's it really. That's all we need to do. While you're doing that, I'm just going to come over here and just show everyone. We've got our crinkly carrots here that we're going to put in a little bit of stock. And also it ties in with the fact that we've already flavoured our turkey with that thyme. I'm going to put on the butter. We're going to cook it in the butter with a tiny bit of honey as well. Now for the cabbage, I'm just going to, this is mint. Again, all of these herbs are really readily available from supermarkets. I just love herbs. And if you've got herbs that you buy in a packet and you only use a little bit, what you can do is just chop the rest up and then freeze it. And freeze it in either bags, or what a lot of people do is freeze it in little ice cube trays. And then it just makes it easy, and then you can literally flip them out when you need them.
Use that for stocks and soups.
For stocks, soups, flavouring vegetables, and you know, all herbs have their own health benefits as well. I mean, mint traditionally, which is great for Christmas, is very much seen as a digestive aid, of course. Mint's great if you've overindulged a bit.
You won't feel sick after this meal because it's healthy.
No. I mean, the other thing about, we're talking about calories, you know, one of the really easy ways of sort of preventing that cabbage sort of overload is to just have a variety of vegetables rather than just one. A lot of people just do 1 or 2 vegetables for a meal generally. Keep the variety there. To stop the calorie intake going up too much.
You fill up on your veg.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know what I was going to say. So think of your plate in sort of quarters or halves. Half your plate fill with the vegetables. So on that table at Christmas, half of that plate vegetables, and then probably a quarter you want to be the turkey, the main event. And then the other quarter would be your roast potatoes or the starch, whichever you, whatever starch you were using. So that way you're not going to overload. A lot of people will tend to put so many potatoes all over their plate and then smother it with sort of sugary sauces or fatty sauces. So that's an easy way. If you focus more on the veg, and the veg haven't been heavily fried, of course, then you're going to fill yourself up so you don't overload. And then you've got room for the pudding, of course. So that's the herbs, and we are just going to sprinkle that right at the end. How is your bacon doing?
I think it's good. A little bit crispier than
looking
before.
Nice.
Yeah.
So why don't we take that out? If I give you a bowl here, you never put raw food and cooked food together. So if you've had raw bacon on a plate, don't put the cooked bacon back on. And we're going to keep that, so we'll put that back on. And Yeah, and that's one. I mean, that's one of the things that a lot of people worry about is food poisoning, and it is actually quite easy to do it because you're trying to juggle so much, and it's easy to suddenly put, say, the raw turkey joint next to the vegetables and so on. So just be mindful of keeping raw and cooked separate. So our butter's going in,
and obviously we've still got the flavour from the bacon there in the pan.
Exactly, which is fabulous. So we'll put that there. And then if you could put, say, a large handful of the carrots in, and I'm going to put in a little bit of olive oil as well. Now, one of the healthiest oils to actually cook with, which is quite expensive, is coconut oil, which is very traditional. It's used a lot in Asian cuisine, and it's very heat stable, because what you want is to have very stable fat when you're cooking. We'll just add a few more. Now, also, what we'll do is do a nice drizzle of honey, and that just, what this will actually do is just caramelise this. So we want to now just bring that to a simmer like you are, and we'll let that sort of caramelise itself, and then we're going to just put on a tiny bit of stock, and we'll just simmer that right down. So you're almost boiling. But rather than putting it in just a pan like this, you are actually flavouring it with your lovely honey and also the butter and the thyme. So it makes it slightly more sticky. It's almost like sticky carrots, really. And again, if your kids don't like veg, they will love these. Right? They will love these. So we're pretty much there. The only thing that we do right at the end is we drain the Brussels sprouts and we put them in a pan with the bacon, season, done.
Okay, so we're going to see the finished product in just a while.
That's right.
Christine, thank you so much. And then after the break as well, we're going to be joined by Tanya, who's going to be showing us how to host the perfect dinner. Join us then. Welcome back. Well, the food is smelling absolutely delicious, but there's no point in having a lovely meal prepared if you don't get your Christmas table right. And Tanya Mellis is going to be helping us with this. She's a professional organizer, and she's going to be showing us some simple, quick things to do that you can use, things from your own house and even your garden as well.
That's right, Chrissy. Christmas is such a busy time, and so I thought, let's do Christmas this year that we can just use the things we have available to us at the home and save money, which is a key for all of us at this time of the year. Right. So, really simply, I've used different coloured ribbons here, and what we're going to do is just...
I'll copy you while you do that, yeah?
Okay. Wrap the plates to make a really nice bow at the end.
I may not be as fast as you, Tanya, but I'm going to try and keep up.
Okay, so just like that. Around the large one first. Just twist it around.
Oops, I've gone into your territory.
That's all right. Perfect, nice bow.
It does look really pretty, the finished version, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And I just thought, the red and stick to, simple colours. The red and white theme is always really elegant and Christmassy. This is the sort of things that if you're busy in the kitchen as well, that the children can be doing for you. And once you've got the bow done up, you just take the smaller plate, slip it in like that. Okay. And then to keep all the cutlery together, I've just decided rather than setting it beside the plate, just put it under here so it's all lovely and clean. And that couldn't be easier when you're asking your children
Still trying to put the plate underneath.
to set the table for you. They won't have to ask you which side the knives have to face.
Okie dokie, so that's the plate done.
Now the next thing I thought for the napkins, this again, I keep thinking about the kids at Christmas time and keeping them involved rather than all the work falling back on the mums. And these I bought myself, but we can make them really easily at home with the flaky pastry. Okay. And you can do them with someone's initial for their name. Oh, in this case, we've got the Christmas tree. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a bit of the ribbon here. I'll give you a little bit. take your napkin, again sticking to the red and white theme, just twist your napkin around.
I'm trying to go as fast as Tanya, but I'm not managing it. I'm trying.
Your ribbon might go around twice. I think the one I've got here is a little bit short, so I'm just going to put it around once, but that's okay. Then you just thread it through. So that's the key as well. No matter what shape you decide to go with, you must make sure there's a hole in it that you can thread it through.
Right.
You can do them sweet or savoury.
It's a nice little starter.
Exactly. Exactly. Then once you've got it through, you don't have to tie it up. You can if you want, but I'm just going to leave it simple like that. Then take your scissors, just like you would if you were wrapping a gift.
Doesn't that look lovely?
Twirl it, and there you go. Okay, so we've got a decorated Christmas.
Mine doesn't look so good.
Tree.
It's a bit lopsided, but let's try and curl it and see. Okay, that's not too bad.
Lovely.
Not as nice as yours, Tanya, but I need a bit more practice, I think. So I'll put this on this side. So that'll go on the right-hand side?
On the right-hand side. Now, next thing that I decided to do for our centrepiece, what I've got here is cranberries, fresh cranberries. Just put them in a clear glass. And then, just to make it more interesting, I'm going to give you some flowers.
Okay.
And we'll just sit the flowers in the cranberries.
So this is so different from like the traditional decorations, isn't it? Like the candles and everything. This is really nice as well.
Yeah, well, we've got a candle here as well, but I just thought, you know, we want not an unfussy Christmas is what we're going for.
But it looks just as beautiful, doesn't it?
It does. And it doesn't have to be, you know, these particular flowers, and there's whatever you've got in your garden.
If you don't have a garden.
If you don't have a garden.
Ask your neighbour.
Exactly. You can buy
these.
Just a simple
That looks really pretty.
You like
Something
it?
so simple and it looks lovely. Nice centrepiece.
And one more.
Got space for it. Yep. There you go.
And that's it.
Wonderful.
Now, just to show you quickly this one, Chrissy.
I love this candle. Something so simple, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's lovely. And, you know, a couple of these on your table. And all it is these nice green leaves, and it can be any type of leaf, again, as long as they're nice and long. And what I did to keep them together, because they will fall apart, I put a little bit of tape down and then stuck the leaves on the tape.
Oh, right, okay. And so it's not so fiddling leaf by leaf.
Exactly.
Right.
And again, a bit of tape on the outside, and then I just finished it off with the ribbon to match
really nice.
our decorations.
Okay, so let's...
And that's it.
Should we lay the rest of the table then, and then we can show you what the final version looks like? So we're just about ready to eat. So Christine's prepared this lovely meal for us with a little bit of help from me, though she didn't need me whatsoever. And we also have Tanya, who's prepared a lovely table. So all that's missing now are our guests, and that's Joanna and Barbara. So let me just go and get them.
Hi! Merry Christmas! Oh,
Oh, you're frozen.
Merry Christmas!
Come through.
Okay.
Well, with your help, of course, Chrissy.
With a bit of stirring and a bit of chopping.
So let me just tell you what we've got. We did the turkey. We used a turkey pressed crown, and you can obviously use chicken, a duck, or a bigger turkey for a bigger family. But it works out very cheap. We've got some lovely sort of caramelised carrots here with thyme and honey. We've got your lovely sprouts. Very, very nutritious, of course, with a little bit of bacon, and our lovely red cabbage. And then some roasties. You've got to have some roast potatoes, of course. And then we've got our chocolate dessert that you so lovingly did.
I
and
can't
so easy. So easy. And you can see now it's completely set, and that was what, an
that
hour?
looks lovely.
easy to do. And we flavoured the Greek yoghurt with a little bit of vanilla.
Right, okay.
So, and vanilla in itself, it's actually an anti-cancer food. Another good health promoting benefit, and also naturally sweet, so you don't have to add any sugar. And of course, if you were feeling indulgent, you could have put a little bit of brandy over the top.
Yeah.
And then we've got our traditional Christmas pudding and some mince pies as well. So
let's tuck
in, absolutely.
Let's unwrap. Sorry,
Take a small plate out,
yeah.
yeah.
You don't have the bread, do you?
Oh, look at these seeds
There we go.
on here.
What seeds did you add here, Christine?
Those are just some mixed seeds, yeah.
Mixed
just some
seeds, yeah.
pumpkin, sesame. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everybody. Happy Christmas.
Happy
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Chin.
Yay.
Salute.
Yay.
Cheers together.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers. Cheers.
Well, I have to say the food was absolutely amazing, and now we're going to try this dessert which we've been waiting for a while, haven't we? So let's tuck in, girls.
Yeah, try that and see what you think. I'm going to tuck into it.
Oh, it's set nicely, hasn't it?
It has, and it's, you know, considering it's only really actually got 3 ingredients.
Oh, wow.
Lovely.
Fantastic. Very
That's a good way of quietening the family, isn't it? You know? But it's
So it
amazing
doesn't-
how it sets with the melted chocolate.
Yeah,
That's
the
all it
tofu
is.
is really good in it, isn't it? It really tastes.
absolutely, and it makes it creamy, and yet you haven't got that guilt feeling of cream. You've actually got a very, very
just
high
as nice as
protein
cream.
food.
Well, we're nice and full. We've just enjoyed the most amazing food, the lovely table setting. I don't feel guilty because everything here was very, very healthy. And since it's the 21st, you've still got time to go and get your shopping done to make this fabulous meal for yourself as well. So we are going to go now, but if you want more information about Christine and Tanya, everything will be up on my website, chrissybshow.tv. You can get all the recipes and all the nice things that we did, the decorations as well. So have a fabulous, fabulous Christmas, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.